No kidding, I'm not kidding you. It probably was the 50th time, but I lost count. I asked the judge, please sentence her to this program, Teen Challenge. And he agreed. And then I said, and one more favor, please, Your Honor. Could it be in Montana? They were opening a brand new women's facility there. I did the research. And I wanted her to be as far away from people, places, and things here, because I thought that would give her the opportunity for a new start. And it did, for a very short time. She did really well, better than I'd ever seen her do before, until she was in an auto accident and failed to tell the ER doctor that she was an addict. And of course, they gave her pain meds. So we started the cycle all over again. In 2005, my daughter became pregnant. There was no prenatal care, and she was actively using, which I guess was probably not a bad thing because it was the need for that drug, which ultimately led to her getting arrested at 6 months pregnant. And at least that stopped the use. My husband and I made a decision that we would take custody of our unborn grandchild. So now, here I am in Ohio. Our baby's going to be born in Montana to a woman who's incarcerated. For those of us who have children, you know that a due date is at best an estimate. It is a best guess. And since courts and hospitals frown on people taking babies from hospitals who don't belong to them, I needed to begin the process of custody so I could take this baby. I was working full time and needed to figure out, when do I fly out to Montana to take this baby? When do I leave? What is the best guess when this baby will arrive? So for any of you who think that God doesn't have a sense of humor, I have to share this story with you. About a year before our baby was born, my daughter was working and she had purchased a car. It was a red VW Beetle. She sent me a photo standing proudly in front of her car, and I was struck by the license plate. It was 4B426. And I remember showing that to my husband and saying, look at this license plate. It's like there's like a hidden message in there. So anyway, I put the photo in my Bible next to my bed, and as I was laying in bed praying about the situation with my daughter and the pregnancy and what to do, when do I buy my plane ticket, when do I go, I felt compelled one night to take out that photo and look at it, and that license plate again. And I was like, oh my goodness, I get it now. So I woke my poor husband up in the middle of the night. I was like, God told me to go to Montana on October 22nd, and the baby will be born on the 26th. So, you know what? I went to Montana on the 22nd, 4B426, and our baby was born on the 26th. It was a bad thing. So, before leaving for Montana, I asked friends who had babies to put a list together of items I was going to need, because my daughter was 28, and so it had been a long time since I had been around a baby or even held a baby. So here I am, a 50-year-old about to be grandma, who's traveled across the country to pick up a baby and bring him back home with her to Ohio. So I get a hotel room, I rent a car, and I go about the process of acquiring these items on this list. And I have to tell you, there were things on that list I had no idea what they were, or what they did, or what they were for. I was like, I don't know what this stuff is. But anyway, so on October 26th, our baby boy, Buddy, was born. At the hospital, I saw a flyer for a new parents class, and I did what any 50-year-old new parent would do. I took the class. My little boy was handed to me, wrapped up like this tight little package, and they told me he was swaddled. So I learned in my new parent class about the 4 S's: soothing, shushing, sucking, and swaddling. I didn't know about that. And here's what else I learned: that babies now sleep on their backs. I didn't know that. Back to sleep. I was like, really? Who knew? Okay. And you don't put anything in their cribs. I'm like, really? This was all new stuff to me. So my new little baby, Buddy, and I traveled back to Ohio, and as he began to grow, my husband and I noticed that there were some concerns with his development. We reached out to this wonderful community that we have and hooked up with the folks that helped me grow. And in conjunction with them and the Trumbull County Board of MRDD and the Educational Service Center, They did tests to determine that our little boy needed intervention for some fine and gross motor skill delays, as well as needing speech therapy. Buddy turned 3 on Sunday, and on Monday, a little community bus came and picked him up at the end of our driveway for his first day in the deaf education program at Champion Elementary School. He would be in that program for 3 years. He participated regularly in occupational and speech therapy. He also had an IEP. Again, something we never heard of, had no idea what it was, and had to learn what that was. But they did give us regular updates on the IEP. My husband believed that having Buddy in sports would be helpful with his motor skills. So in addition to signing him up for soccer, baseball, youth football, and basketball, Mike also became the coach of Buddy's teams. So Coach Mike became the go-to guy. He became known as the sage voice of knowledge and wisdom, kind of the Yoda of local youth sports. Other coaches would seek him out for advice and counsel, while the kids referred to him as Coach Mike. The other coaches fondly referred to him as Coach Grandpa. When Buddy finished kindergarten, we got the news from the IEP team that Buddy had mastered all the required tasks and he was graduating from deaf education and leaving his IEP behind. 2 years before entering 4th grade, his test scores showed that he had superior cognitive abilities in math and language arts. And as a result, he was put into the gifted class at Champion Elementary School. So he had gone from being special needs at an early age to gifted by 4th grade. At the end of the school year, Buddy was one of a handful of students who received a special recognition for their academic achievements based on grade point average and Iowa test scores. He was given this certificate, signed by then President Barack Obama, came from the White House, folks, congratulating him on his achievement. After raising our grandson for 8 years, it became apparent that the control that heroin had on my daughter continued to be all-consuming. On the verge of his 8th birthday, my husband and I made a decision to transition from grandparents raising their grandchild to parents raising their child. On August 6, 2013, we adopted William Brighton Wilson. Buddy became our son legally. I've learned a lot on this journey about addiction, unconditional love, family, and community. People often ask if I think my daughter will ever break free from her addiction. Right now, once again, she's incarcerated as a result of her drug use. But she's alive, and I believe as long as she's alive, there is always hope for recovery from her addiction. Thank you.
Very inspirational too. You are not alone. Everyone has a story, and that's very just heartwarming to hear that you can fully get cancer. I'm sure there are, of course, many families with us tonight who can relate to your story, Bonnie. So our next presenter is Judge Sandra Stabile Harwood. Now, Judge Stabile Harwood was elected to the Trumbull County Court of Common Pleas Domestic Juvenile Division in 2012. She has a very long resume, and I want to make sure you hear it because she has a lot of experience on the bench. I've been in her court. She's received her Bachelor of Business Administration cum laude from Kent State University and her Juris Doctorate from the University of Akron. Judge Stabile Harwood is also a graduate, we were talking about this earlier, of the fellowship program at the Bohea Institute for Legislative Leadership, which is at the Robert M. La Follette School of Public Affairs, University of Wisconsin. She was admitted to the Ohio Bar in 1991. In 2004, she was admitted to practice before the Supreme Court of the United States. Her 20-plus years in private practice focused primarily on family law. Judge Stabile Harwood served 4 consecutive terms in the Ohio House of Representatives until she was term limited in 2010. She earned her district honor to serve as the first woman to chair the Ohio House Judiciary Committee. Her passion for protecting families and children, led her to a decade of service for the Trumbull County Child Support Enforcement Agency, where she served as the in-house counsel. Don't mess with her. Chief Administrative Hearing Officer, she remained committed to the integrity of the judiciary and serving families of Trumbull County. Judge Sybil Harwood oversaw the creation and certification of the Ohio Supreme Court of a specialized docket for the Trumbull County Juvenile Drug Court and served as judge over the specialized docket as well as the chair of the court's advisory committee. And in addition, she serves on the Ohio Judicial Conference Legislative Committee. Judge Sybil Harwood has been the recipient of several awards and recognition for her work on behalf of children and families here in Ohio. In addition, she had the honor of being chosen as Legislature of the Year in 2005 by Ohio's CSCA's Directors Association and the Breast Cancer Hero Award from the Ohio Breast Cancer Coalition. Without further ado, I'm going to welcome you, Your Honor, to the stage.
I just said that is way too long. I have to say before I even began that I have known Bonnie Wilson and her husband Mike for many, many years. And tonight is the first night that I ever had any clue of their journey. And I just have to say that they are a great example of how this community has always come together to support and lift up each other. And I've experienced that in my 30-plus years of public service representing Trumbull County. And I just have to say that with grace and dignity, the two of you have taken on this challenge is a great example for all of us here tonight. I want to thank the sponsors for hosting this event. And just like the media has come together, as our community always does, for coming together and putting together this valuable evening of information for all of you. I want to thank all of you too for being here tonight. Your presence here tonight is an example of the interest in the caring and the showing and wanting to be part of the solution for this crisis that has affected every one of us in one way or another. And the most vulnerable of the victims who have been so deeply affected by this crisis are the children whose parents are addicted. It's so important for all of us to come together and lift each other up. These children, they're the future for our lives, they're the future of our country, and the future of this community here in Trumbull County. That's why it's so important for so many of you, especially the grandparents here today, to be involved and to be able to do whatever you can to assist these children. As judge in Trumbull County Common Pleas Court, I preside over 2 divisions that deals every day with the issues these children are facing. Juvenile Division, as well as the Domestic Relations Division. And I, along with Judge Rentella, and our incredible staff of magistrates, and one of whom is here tonight, Magistrate Kiko, would you please stand up? He is here tonight with me. He hears so many of these cases too. We deal with this every single day. He's here tonight to help me as far as answering questions afterwards. We will both be available afterwards to answer any questions. As I said, we both deal every day with what's near and dear to the hearts of all of us. And that's our families here in Trumbull County and our children. Now, I need to say though, although he and I will be available, and I think if I have enough time, he's going to come up and talk about some of the factors we look at when we're determining whether or not to grant visitation, and what we need to look at also, if ever we're granting custody to a non-parent. And if we have enough time, we can talk about that also. But what I'm going to talk about tonight are 2 things that affect those of you who are grandparents in this audience tonight. I'm going to talk about visitation, and I'm also going to talk about custody when it pertains to a non-parent. Okay, now, I said we'd be available to answer some questions, but I have to tell you, we are bound by judicial ethics. We cannot speak about a specific case or a case that may come before the court. But what we can do, and what we're here tonight to do, is tell you what your options are here in Ohio and what the law is. We both took oaths when we took office, and our oath was to uphold the Constitution of the United States as well as Ohio, and we are bound by the laws of Ohio. We also have to be fair, impartial, and we cannot discuss any cases or have any information prior to a case coming before us. So that's what we're bound by. So please don't come up to us and say, well, here's my situation, because we can't talk about that. But we do want to help you and let you know what you can do and what your options are. So anyways, it's wonderful to see so many grandparents here tonight, and being able, as Bonnie and Mike have done, to come in and provide the things for your grandchildren that have been giving him the ability to achieve what he has. Without those grandparents being involved, he probably would have never gone through the IEPs as successfully and become an honor student. And he's in the gifted class, so that's just amazing. You can make such a tremendous difference. We see every day, Magistrate Pico and I, grandparents stepping up and stepping in to raise up their grandchild. Every single day we see that. And their words and their actions, I have 7 grandchildren. And what you grandparents are doing is always conveys the message I convey to my grandchildren. I'm always here, I'm always in your corner, and I'm always your safe and soft place to call. And that's what we're really all about as grandparents. Anyway, so what's available for grandparents under Ohio law? I'm going to talk about 2 things tonight, as I said, custody and visitation.